Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. My name is TJ, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Around the Blockchain. We have some really good topics to jump into today, also with some really good guests from all around the interwebs, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or both. We've got CryptoWendyO, who is one of those ones that's both TikTok and YouTube. We've got TraderToks joining us here today for his first time on the channel. He's been hot on the SHIB train, dropping a lot of TA and knowledge on TikTok about Shiba Inu, which we'll be talking about first here. We've got Spencer Taring back today with a new addition to the family, I hear. Got some new love in his life. I don't know if it's a pet or a baby. Oh, there it is. We got a little cutie there with us. So look at that one. And then, as always, the only guest here that Justin Williams in the office has notifications on his channel, CryptoFace, with the hot alpha, with the TA, always bringing the charts, always bringing the knowledge, and lots of fun information as well. So going to be talking about some good subjects today. Shiba Inu, is it good for the ecosystem or is it completely pointless? Africa launching their first CBDC. We'll talk about how CBDCs may affect the greater landscape, the greater macroeconomics, so to speak, of both crypto and the rest of the world. And then Cash App. We got a new law and regulation coming down about taxes of any transactions in Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, anything over $600. The IRS kind of trying to get their hands in there and get a little piece of that. So we're going to talk about how that might affect when you've got taxes on mobile apps. Is that going to push people towards crypto? Is that going to make people hesitant? We'll get into that a little bit towards the end of the show. So real quick, we'll do a quick market watch. We've got Bitcoin coming in right at 57,387 right now, up on the day, turning everybody pretty bullish. Ethereum coming in 3,500. Cardano 214. A little bit of a pump over the weekend for XRP. It's retraced a little bit back down around $1.12. Seems to like to hang out around $1.10. Then pretty much everything else just down a little bit over the weekend. Bitcoin mostly stealing the show today. So let's see if we've got anything else. Oh, and then, of course, Shiba Inu, one of the bigger pumpers from the weekend, still up 111% in the last day. So we'll jump right into that. As always, if you're new to the show here, if you see the score boxes in the bottom right-hand corner, if you like what you're hearing from any of the guests, drop a +1 in the chat. I'll know to give them a point. If you don't like what they're saying, you can drop a -1. We'll take one away. Whoever has the most points at the end of the show will have 30 seconds to leave a parting message with the audience. So Shiba Inu, it's been talk of the town lately. We get people in our chat every day asking us to cover more Shiba news. It's a meme coin. It pumps. It moves a lot. Elon Musk tends to like to tweet about it every once in a while. So we're seeing more and more activity, more and more volume coming to it. Coinbase description of SHIB was a token that aspires to be an Ethereum-based alternative to Dogecoin. So we'll start with you, TraderToks. I know they said you've been doing some TA on it and stuff. It just had a massive pump over the weekend. We got a lot of people talking about it. What's your take on Shiba Inu? Is it a good buy? And are you looking for any specific entry points? Do you have any price targets? Kind of what do you have on Shiba Inu right now?
So as far as if Shiba Inu coin is good for the community, I don't really know. I mean, if you're going to talk about utility, Shiba Inu coin probably isn't the one to go. I mean, I don't really know too much about Shiba Inu coin's utility, but I assume Dogecoin is probably better. As far as a speculative bet, not an investment, right? You probably shouldn't be investing your money into Shiba Inu coin. You don't want to be left holding the bag because most of the time these coins do pull back 80%, 50, 80%. So yeah, as far as that goes, Dogecoin might be the winner there, but as far as a speculative bet, Shiba Inu coin probably might be the one to take because if we take a look at Shiba Inu coin's chart, we're going to see some interesting things. First of all, if we take a look at the RSI, we see that we're currently way overbought, which a lot of people think is actually a bad thing, but it's actually kind of a good thing when you think about it. RSI, to get this high on RSI, you need to have a lot of momentum behind it. And that's exactly what we're seeing on Shiba Inu coin, right? We have a ton of momentum behind it. We have a lot of FOMO traders coming in. And speaking about FOMO traders, really the only case that I could see Shiba Inu coin actually skyrocketing is if we manage to break to new highs. Because right now, we still are we're not really managing to break past the all-time high. If you take a look at the Fibonacci retracements that I've drawn down here from this high to this low, we'll see that we're currently bouncing at the 88.6 Fibonacci retracement, which is actually a Fibonacci retracement that nobody talks about. Not a lot of people use it, but I'm telling you, it will change your life if you use it. It was discovered by Scott Carney, one of my mentors. And you can see that's kind of where we're bouncing right now. But if we're able to break past roughly 35, as you can imagine, that's probably going to cause a lot of momentum on Shiba Inu coin. FOMO traders are going to come back in. Everyone who's already sold their bag, right? We already retested all-time highs. So, you already had a lot of people sell off their Shiba Inu coin because all these people that have been waiting for so long for Shiba Inu coin to pump, they probably sold it right here. In fact, we can see from the volume that this drop right here was definitely not just, a normal drop. That was definitely people panic selling once they realized that we weren't able to break through all-time highs. So if we are able to break through those all-time highs, I think a lot of FOMO traders are going to come in. And as far as a target, I think we may be able to reach roughly 56. That's going to be the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. And that's usually the Fibonacci extension that we reach when we go parabolic. So as far as what I'm doing with Shiba Inu coin, I already own some. I'm holding on to it. I'm not selling it unless it breaks below roughly 23 or gets to 56. I'm not doing anything other than that. I'm only selling if we get to 56, and I'm only selling if we break 23.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm just waiting.
No, that's a good breakdown. Now, let me ask you this. That target you set there, we've got the current circulating supply, according to Coinbase, at 394 trillion. Is that target based on the current supply, or are you kind of planning for them some type of token burn in that process?
I'm not a fundamental guy. I'm just reading the charts. You could say the same argument for Dogecoin. Nobody thought Dogecoin was going to go to 70 cents because of the market cap and whatnot. Honestly, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. The 1.618 Fibonacci extension is usually what I use to gauge parabolic moves, and Shiba Inu coin is setting up perfectly for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And by the way, I gave Wendy 2 free points because the colors are almost the same here on that chart. I don't know if you can reset that, BJ. But, that's a good breakdown there, and that's kind of what I thought. I thought that was pure TA and those prices based on what the charts were saying. I know a lot of the hype around it comes based on the potential of a token burn. I know the team has hinted at the potential of doing it. A lot of the holders say, that's how we really see some major price action if they were to decide to burn a big portion of that supply. I don't know where that's coming from, if there's actual legitimacy to that being burned. But Wendy, let me ask you, what is your opinion on Shiba Inu? Does every ecosystem need a meme coin like a Doge or a Shiba, or does it just make things more noise and make it harder for people to understand?
There's a good side and a bad side. So first off, I support everybody who's watching this show's right to invest in whatever they want, because it's crypto, it's about freedom, it's about being anti-censorship. But at the same time too, I'm seeing a lot of misinformation and a lot of people getting confused about they don't know what a market cap is. They don't care about a market cap. They don't want to learn about a market cap. They don't want to learn about the basics of trading. They don't want to hear taking profit. Anytime I make a TikTok and I'm like, hey guys, if you're in Shiba, I respect that. But at the same time, please make sure you are mitigating risk. Please make sure you're taking profit. And people are like, no, I'm going to hold. Why would I take profit? And I'm like, to me, I look at the chart and it could definitely 100% go higher. It could do exactly what TraderToks is talking about. But at the same time, I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, dude, this is scary. I wouldn't want to buy this here. I don't like to buy green candles. To me, it doesn't make sense. It's just as far as for me as an investor and a trader, I don't want to take that much risk. So the only thing I'm going to say for people is if this is something you want to get into, make sure you've taken initial out and profit out if you're in profit, because a lot of you guys are going to get caught holding the bag, just like we saw with Dogecoin when it hit 75 cents for Saturday Night Live. At the same time too, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, this is bad or this is good. There's a lot of things I don't like about the project, but at the same time, I like that it's a meme coin. I like that it's fun, but I feel like it does confuse people a little bit with actual because I don't really see any too much utility for it. It's just kind of fun to look at as a meme. That's just my opinion though.
Yeah, no, and that's like you said, we don't fault anybody for investing in anything that they're interested in, but there is a big difference in the mindset of an investor versus somebody who's just buying something for, maybe like a lottery ticket, or hey, maybe I'm going to put, I feel like a lot of the people that I know that talk about Shiba Inu, they might put $50 or $100 and hey, maybe that'll blow up into a lot of money and maybe it'll just go to zero. They don't really have a big attachment to it either way, which is fine for, if you want to do that and take a shot with it, be our guest. So CryptoFace, I know you look at the charts a lot. I know TraderToks was sharing some of the TA with us on Shiba. When you hear about a coin with like a circulating supply of almost 400 trillion, a total supply in the quadrillions, like where does your head go? Is that something that even registers with you, or is it you just look at the charts and break it down that way, or do you just kind of stay away from these type of coins in general?
Well, number one, Shiba Inu is on Coinbase, and so no matter, even though they said like they want as many coins as possible and they don't really want responsibility for people thinking it's a safe coin 'cause it's on Coinbase. I don't think they'd put a coin on there unless they'll say knew some people that were kind of like at the top. I'd like to share my screen real quick because the 12-hour on it looks really good. You're all going to see yourselves real quick here.
Ooh,
and then boom. Okay. Can you see this right now?
Yep, we got it.
All right. So there's not too much to say. This is about the highest time frame that I can actually pull some data from. And right here we have a beautifully curved outward curve VWAP, and it looks like it's just about to break to the upside, and kind of like early stage. Can't believe I'm saying it, but early stage, 2017 type of deal where there might be some time to ride the pony. And listen, every single crypto ends up going down, and every single crypto ends up, you end up holding bags. And it's no different than Doge or anything else. Also, the pattern that it's in right now, this we call the trumpet. It's a pattern that's really hasn't been prevalent since 2017 when I think about it. And in this case, these trumpets have been going to the upside. This is on the 8-hour, you know what I'm saying? We got the VWAP coming up, money flows increasing. And so I don't have any yet, man, but I think I might buy some. And so I'm going to buy some of that darn coin. Why not?
Yeah.
That's just me, but I imagine if it's on Coinbase, maybe it'll be, it'll be on other exchanges that, you can do some trading stuff with it, but who's going to want to short that? No market maker is going to want to short that. So yeah, I'll probably buy some. It looks good on the higher time on the 8 and the 12-hour, I guess.
Well, and that's a good point. The fact that it's on Coinbase puts it in front of the faces of a lot of different people. Obviously, a lot of the most newer investors to cryptocurrency or digital assets, Coinbase is one of the first apps they download. That's kind of what they look at for their price and indication and, for their kind of crypto news. So the fact that that is in front of so many people, if it starts pumping and popping off, everybody's going to get that notification on their phone that says Shiba Inu's up 23% or whatever that notification is. They're going to say, hey, what's this thing? Maybe I'll buy a little bit of it. So if you can get in.
It's the only coin in the past week. I've had like 3 different people text message me, like friends of friends or new acquaintances. All 3 of them were asking me about Shiba. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe it's a pony you can ride a little bit. I'm going to try to ride that pony a little bit. I'll buy some today.
Yeah, the chat saying you're looking at those gains saying get over here. They like your scorpion look today. So rocking the hat. I love it. But Spencer, I'm gonna come to you with this one. I know you've been around this space a long time. You probably saw Doge, one of the first kind of meme community coins, rise up, and it's been around a long time. It's definitely got a strong community. We've seen it pump. It's almost like a signal of the beginning of alt season when Dogecoin pops off. The rest of the alts are getting ready as well. So Shiba Inu kind of developing into that next big altcoin or community coin that has that kind of pumpamentals, I guess you could say. So what's your take on Doge and Shiba? And, do you think either one of them will be around 10 years from now?
I love that word, pumpamentals. That is awesome. I'm going to continue to add that to my vocabulary. Well, look, I think these kind of meme tokens, it's kind of like the ultimate form of capitalism, isn't it? It enables people, like Wendy mentioned, people can invest in whatever they think or whatever they want, and crypto is the ultimate form of that because there's absolutely no restrictions on what you want to do. Me personally, I see Shiba as having absolutely zero utility, no use. It's merely an extension of people's gambling tendencies. And I think that's kind of a lot of what crypto does, is it's got this amazing ability to hyperextend the human emotion of gambling 10,000 fold instantly all around the world. So you're finding a lot of people are coming into these projects, and in particular Shiba Inu, because it's the ultimate one, where they're willing to gamble $50, $100, $1,000, $10,000, and look at it and think, well, and I've got a 10x, I've got a 50x up on this. Why the hell not? I'm going to put it in. I'm not going to worry about it. If it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't make any difference to my life. And I think this gambling tendency is a big, you could call it a flaw in human nature, but it's there. Everyone wants it. It kicks off your dopamine inside your brain, and you're never gonna end it. Certainly in a setup with cryptocurrency where it's kind of an ultra form of capitalism, where anyone can buy anything the hell that they want. I have $5 of Shiba Inu by accident.
There you go. By accident. Well, I mean,
I also found 60,000 Dogecoin on my Genesis mining account the other day, which I was like, oh, I'll have some of that. Yeah, I was very shocked, because somehow I accidentally mined Dogecoin in 2000 and whenever it was, 15 or something, when I was using Genesis mining.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, nothing like finding $60,000 in your pocket, huh? That feels good.
Well, and not 60,000. It's
60,000 Doge. I'm sorry, I thought you said $60,000 worth of Doge. Yeah.
Yeah. I sold it.
Still not a bad find, and hey, you never know. I like kind of what CryptoFace was saying. You know, all of these things, they go up, they go down. There's a lot of volatility in crypto, especially in alts. You know, with the volatility, it's high risk, high reward. So sometimes you can get that reward if you play with some of these high risk coins. But like he said, you know, they can all retrace. But you know, there's nothing to say Shiba Inu was going to retrace more than some of these other coins. So like everybody said, like it's your money to do with as you want. That's the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency and digital assets, is you get to decide and you're in control, and there's nobody protecting you from the gains or the losses. So something good to keep in mind. You know, yeah, you're the only one you can blame. Only person you can get mad at is yourself. Even though it does seem like when people lose their money, they tend to blame YouTubers and everybody except themselves. So, and everybody in the chat's giving me a hard time because I said Scorpion, which I was literally just reading the chat, and then they said you look a lot more like Raiden than Scorpion, and I don't know my Mortal Kombat, but I did actually watch that movie, the latest one that came out, twice, because it was actually a lot better than I was expecting. So
combination of both of them, man. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah, bringing the heat and the electricity, so we like it. So we'll shift gears here a little bit, talk about some CBDCs in Africa. Nigeria is going to be releasing its first CBDC here in just a couple days, called the Naira, I guess is how you would pronounce it, Naira. I haven't heard it said yet, but mostly just we're seeing more CBDCs get released. We're seeing it's going to impact the global economy. We're seeing them roll out over time. We've got people predicting that we're going to see 5 major nations with functioning CBDCs here by the beginning of next year. So obviously we've seen, you know, countries started to adopt Bitcoin. We're hearing talks of probably 20 or 30 nations in the works, or at least in some level of discussions about releasing a CBDC. Which, as far as I understand, most of these things are either going to function on private blockchains, or maybe potentially the Ripple technology as things develop further. Maybe some of these CBDCs transfer over to that. So as more CBDCs start to roll out, do you see these things being a positive thing to move cryptocurrency forward, or is this just another iteration of what we've got currently with the current banking system? I'll come to you with that one, CryptoFace. Do you think this is a positive and we're going to see this work successfully, or is it just another iteration of the current banking system we see, just at a higher level with more, we're making everything digital, making it easier to manipulate?
Well, it's kind of going to be created if someone's going to do it, kind of like you know, USDT or USDC, you know, and it's probably one of the most used, if not the most used crypto, you know, that we know of. And so you know, if Nigeria or you know, any country wants to like make like a stable type coin backed behind something, it depends on how they go about it. You know, if their people are able to use it, it's easier than cash. You know, cash, you can get robbed out of your pocket. You can't send your cash as quick as you can send, you know, some type of cryptocurrency. So it kind of just goes to like who's doing it at the top. You know, everything can be kind of corrupted and messed up, or it can be really good for the people. And if it just makes things faster and easier and safer, so to speak, then it's better. It is benign. It just depends on how they use it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
and also like if they're trading on exchanges, like they don't have to use USDT. You know, they can use their stable coin. You know what I mean? And so it can really be a big benefit if they do it right.
I want to jump in there because I think there's a little bit of confusion going on what a CBDC is actually going to be. It's definitely not going to be a stable coin. A stable coin is a privately issued token that's backed or meant to be backed by cash assets or other assets. And your obviously belief in that stable coin is in a agreement with the private company that's issuing it. When it comes to CBDCs, it's a central government that's issuing it. And there is no way that these CBDCs are going to be backed by physical cash in the bank. It's going to be a similar story to the creation of USD or any foreign currency around the world. They're just going to create it. And I think it's going to be a big problem, actually, especially these ones that are being issued on a private blockchain. And I see, a future where, in particular, Nigeria, which, I don't want to, say bad things, but it's a very corrupt country. There's lots of corruption in their government, and I can see them abusing a setup like this. And once that happens, are other people going to trust their CBDC? People outside of Nigeria, are they going to be able to integrate that currency onto exchanges around the world? If there's a lack of trust in the actual value of what it is, and the government kind of manipulating the numbers of that CBDC, its market cap, how many of there are, how much of it there is, and how much they're issuing to, when they want to pay for something. So I think it's going to be a very interesting times over the next 10 years as these CBDCs come out. Obviously, China is way ahead. They're about to launch their CBDC. They're already corrupt as it gets anyway. So I don't know how this is going to work.
If I'm not mistaken, USDT had pretty much the same accusations and the same problems where someone else made it. Wasn't a government, but people didn't believe and people didn't know if anything was backed up with dollars yet. Like if it's still being used, it's being used. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're being backed up by the US government, aren't you? So it's being backed up by force. So you've obviously got the US government.
No, what I'm saying, but you don't know that. You don't know that. Like for a long time with USD Tether, they may have said that every USDT is backed by a dollar, but there's been so much, whether it's FUD or it's real or it's not true, that it ain't. Maybe 10% of it or 30% of it's actually backed by dollars. But at the end of the day, as long as we think it is, just like fiat, right? Fiat ain't backed by another piece of paper, but we still think it's a $100 bill. It's a $100 bill. We still use it. You know what I mean? So we still use USDT, and those bastards are corrupt too. So everyone that's doing is corrupt at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I think you guys both made a lot of really good points there. A CBDC is different than your traditional stablecoin. It's a coin issued by a central bank, and then kind of like what CryptoFace was saying, at the end of the day, it all comes down to trust anyway. Like whether you trust that the dollar is going to work or you trust that the central, the CBDC is going to work. That's ultimately what we're doing here, where Bitcoin has kind of given us a solution where you don't have to trust a third-party intermediary. But, right now with these central bank digital currencies, that's pretty much what they're coming down to. Like, who do you trust more? Kind of like to Spencer's point, would you trust a Nigerian CBDC more than you would trust a United States CBDC? Like, that's kind of what's going to come into play here. You'll see different markets have different things. And if you're here in the United States, you don't really have any incentive to use a CBDC from Nigeria or Africa or any other part of the world other than the United States. But, we've got Edward Snowden coming out tweeting just the other day that, what's a CBDC? That's just a policy tool for these central banks to slowly annihilate the savings accounts of Americans. So, that's his take on things, and that privacy is going to become that much more important. They're just going to use these CBDCs to better track and better invade the privacy of their citizens. So, that's kind of the other angle, kind of the other side of that coin of what we feel like could be happening with these CBDCs is as they get propagated out, now they're taking every transaction and making it a digital transaction that's traceable and trackable, and it's not a cash transaction like we've seen. Do you have something there, Spencer?
No, I was just agreeing with you in that phase that it is open to abuse, in particular with tracking and where money's going to be. And you've already seen, I think you've got it later on in your on the topics, as your IRS is going crazy with regards to your Venmo apps and tapping into everyone's bank accounts. It's got over $600 in there. I mean, it's brutal out there, and it's only going to get worse with the CBDC, isn't it? But it's inevitable. I don't think fighting it is going to be the option. It's coming. You're better off being on the adoption side than you are trying to fight that.
Right.
But that's why we need Bitcoin, because all of these digital currencies, they all need to be backed by a global standard of value, which is going to be Bitcoin. And I truly believe it's going to happen. I don't know if it's 10 years, I don't know if it's 20 years. It's going to happen when it might happen when there's a next big war, when China and the US go to war, which is, I think it's going to happen very soon. Which currency do you use then? Do you believe in the USD? Do you believe in the RMB? The world's got to come to one unifying currency store of value. It has to, especially if we want to, progress humanity past this little planet that we're living on. There has to be a unifying store of value.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd like to jump in on that as well.
Yeah, perfect. I was about to come to you anyway. So what do you got?
I think at the end of the day, central banks, when you think about it, for the most part, they just want control, right? I mean, if you think about the whole point of cryptocurrencies is that they're decentralized. So when you take the concept of cryptos and you have a government, running them essentially. I mean, take a look at China. They banned cryptocurrencies. Why do you think they banned cryptocurrencies? Because they want that control. They want, they want to control that their currencies. So I think central banks ultimately are just scared of cryptos and they want to have that sort of control. For example, like Edward Snowden said, if you have the scenario where we have negative interest rates, in the current system, to avoid that, you could go and take your money out of the bank, right? You could just make it cash. But if cash is no longer existent and you just have, one digital currency, then the government can do whatever they want with that. You don't have any control over that.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point you just made there about getting your cash out, getting it back in your hands. I think the number, you said banks being afraid of cryptocurrencies. I think the number one thing they're afraid of is everybody trying to pull their cash out all at once because they don't have it. That's why the spending limits are so low. That's why they do fractional reserve banking. That's why they pretty much eliminated it to say 0% is all they have to hold to loan stuff out, which is just insane. So if everybody, if you look at what happened in Greece, you look at what's happened in multiple different parts of the world, you get a run on the banks won't give you your money, and then basically everybody realizes the currency is useless and you experience hyperinflation. So to the point you just made, if there is no physical bank and everybody just has a digital account, you're stuck holding there is no run on the banks that's possible. So they don't have to worry about that, and they can just slowly dwindle things. They can just tell you, oh, we've moved your interest rate from 0.05% down to 0%, down to negative 0.05%, and then just keep playing that game. And there's really nothing you can do because everything's stuck in that wallet. So, Wendy, I wanted to hear from you on this one. Do you think it would be possible, like how will all of this stuff, everything they just mentioned between central banks and foreign governments and, a digital account, a digital dollar, a digital currency wherever you live, do you think this is going to have a positive impact, negative impact, or neutral impact on specifically the price of Bitcoin?
Initially, when it was talking about a U.S. digital dollar or digital dollar coming out in the United States, I was really excited. It was like, this is going to be great. This is going to be amazing for adoption. And this was probably a couple months prior to the panorama happening. And I was like, this is going to be great. This is awesome. But then as I started to do more research about it, and kind of learn what they're going to utilize, when I learned about private blockchains to where you can't track the stuff, because we all know in the United States, for CBDC, it's going to be private. Well, it could be public, but for the government officials, it's going to be private, 100%. They don't want us to see what they're doing. We all know that they don't do what they say that they're going to do with their money. They're not going to allow us to see it either for transparency, because it would be the complete end of them. Another thing, one positive thing I will say is maybe with a global CBDC, if it's built on the same chain, maybe there'll be some way that we can go ahead and swap it. So it'll help with the cost of money remittances. That would be amazing. But then at the same time, my mind is thinking, why would they want to help save people money? There's got to be some sort of there's got to be more to it. And also too, the way that they plan to roll education out for CBDCs. What they wanted to do is they wanted to roll this education out at a post office. At a post office.
Wow.
I don't know if y'all been to a post office recently, but they have a place where you can do your passport. You do have to make an appointment because of the panorama, which takes a very long time. But when you go to a post office, they're always understaffed. There's too much going on. The fact that they want to do education for a CBDC in a post office, there is not even a post office in like there's not even a post office there's not even a post office in every single town. Like one of the suggestions I gave to one of the people that was doing, he was consulting on the matter. I was like, why can't you guys do this at pharmacies? That would be great. Pharmacy technicians and pharmacy staff, healthcare workers, there's more pharmacies than post offices in the United States. They'd be able to deal with privacy protection. So there's a lot of things going on. Overall, I don't think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be we're going to see more control become enforced to the people of the world. And they're not going to keep it a level playing field as to where they're going to know what we're spending on, which brings us into our next topic, but we're not going to know what they're spending on. There is no way that they are going to pass any type of funding that's going to be on a public blockchain, because then the people would actually be able to see the subcontractors that they give them out to, because it's not a fair system that they use. And the amount of money that we are overpaying for services, which would be a lot less if we just stuck with small businesses in our local communities.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, banks, one of their fears is run on the banks, governments and government officials is actual transparency into their transactions. It's probably one of their worst nightmares. So the idea that we would all use something that everybody knows what's going on with the transactions, it's public, everybody can search it and see it, is probably pretty terrifying for them. So they're trying to come up with, an alternative solution that allows them to get as much information about all of us without giving us any on them, which unfortunately is the world we live in. So speaking of overregulation, overreaching of governments, and maybe not our best interests in mind, we're going to be talking about digital payment apps getting a new rule or regulation, taxation coming down the line for Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you use any of those type of apps to transfer money digitally between you and your friends and family, they used to have a friends and family option that would allow that to be tax exempt. Now they're coming down the line saying with the proliferation of these apps and all this money going back and forth, it doesn't matter who you're sending it to. If it's more than $600 at the end of the year, that has to be reported, which for the large majority would be a lot of people. I know here in the office, they were talking about, people, if you have roommates and, one person's paying the rent and you got everybody, Zelling or Venmoing the money at the end of the month to pay the rent, cover utilities, whatever it is, whoever that person is who's receiving all those payments, they're going to get hit with a big tax bill at the end of the year. And, it's taxable income at this point. So TraderToks, do you think something like this, or new regulation, a new rule like this, is going to help push more people to crypto, maybe like through a MetaMask app, or trying to find more of a decentralized way to send money versus using a centralized option like a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or something like that? Or do you think people will just, pay the tax and not think too much about it?
Well, I definitely think if that happens, people are going to get pissed off, and that might lead people to start, using crypto a little bit more. But again, I think it all comes down to control. This is clearly just the government, wanting their cut, right? Right now we have cash. You're technically supposed to pay tax on cash, but pretty much nobody does, right? So that's going to take away that kind of freedom. A lot of these, small businesses that take a lot of cash, they're going to kind of get screwed. So I guess, yeah, it would. I would probably do it if I was one of these people that are taking a lot of cash in their business. That's really all they take. And then, all of a sudden now you're forced to pay tax on it. Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't switch over to something like crypto.
There you go. And then, Spencer, what do you think? Do you think there's any coincidence that we're seeing a big push for digital currencies and everything becoming digital apps and digital wallets, while at the same time passing regulations saying all of that's going to be taxed and monitored far greater than anything we've ever done on transactions in the past? Do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think there's a plan here?
You can call it a conspiracy theory, can't you? But I think there's more truth to it than there is FUD. There's definitely a organized plan by governments, certainly the US, and colluding with other governments as well around the world to remove cash from our society. It's a natural transition. It's obviously got some really big upsides for everyone. It's a lot easier to use when you've got a digital adoption like that. It's very good for the economy. People spend more money. It's easier for them to use it. So there are a lot of upsides, but the downsides are you become even more subservient to the IRS and your government or your tax authority in the country. I don't know what people's relations to the IRS are in the US, but through my connections and understanding, people are actually quite scared of doing wrong to the IRS because there's big trouble if you try and hide. If you do tax evasion, it's a big thing. It's not like stealing something from a little shop. You're stealing from the government, and they really crack down on you hard. So once these CBDCs come into place, everything's going to be automated anyway. I don't think people will be able to hide from what's going on. I don't think there's anything you can do about it, guys. I think that's just the way it is. And if you're using cryptocurrency, are you prepared to hide stuff like that from the government when they're probably going to be able to find out about it anyway? I don't know. I don't think crypto is about the tax issue, personally. I think tax is inevitable. Everyone has to pay their tax. It's just whether you can avoid having your money completely controlled by someone else, as opposed to having a government that prints loads and loads of money and is taxing you on top of your tax through inflation, and using the money how they shouldn't be using it. Whereas if you've got Bitcoin in place, you've got kind of a check against that inflation and a check against a tyrannical government going above their means with regards to the monetary supply.
Yeah, no, I think you said a couple of good things there, like almost compound taxing you, like taxing you on your tax. Inflation is the kind of silent tax that gets everybody, but it's also, that's something they were talking about here this morning. You get income tax on your money to begin with, so you've already paid the income tax for the state and the federal tax, and now if you just want to send it to your buddy, you got to pay tax on it again for sending it to your buddy. So it's like basically it's an additional sales tax, I guess, is what it would come down to. But I tend to agree with you. But CryptoFace, I was going to kind of ask you, similar to what Spencer was just mentioning. Obviously, we use a lot of different PayPal and different apps for moving money around all the time, whether it's cash, whether it's a digital app, whether it's actually getting money out of an ATM and handing it to somebody. So, is this just a cost of doing business at this point? Kind of like Spencer was saying, like you can't really hide from the government. Like if they're going to impose a tax like this, you just kind of have to get through it and pay it and move on. Or is this something that you think could maybe spur more movement into privacy coins and maybe kind of create more use case for privacy coins?
Yeah, I mean, Cash App and like similar payment apps have basically become the number one people pay each other. And so, right now when you send money, normally you can just type something in, like babysitting my dog or payroll or whatever. And so there might start being like selections to kind of, organize that a little better. A lot of them, you don't even pay anything. Some of them are free, and the companies just suck up investor money and just keep burning, rich dudes and whoever's investing in hedge funds and stuff. And so, there's businesses I know that only pay through Cash App, and so they don't write checks. Nobody writes checks anymore. Yeah. And so it's really the main way people are paying each other. And so I'm not surprised, but also at the same time is at the end of the day, you have to get audited in order to get your hand slapped, and a lot of people don't get. A very, very, very small percentage of people with low incomes actually get audited, and so but yeah, it's just like everything else. It's already on your bank statements, so it's already tracked. They're just added another one on top. You know what I mean? They already have the info that they need, and they'll be slapping tax on them. I'm surprised it's not happened already. So yeah, just more of a reason, man, I can't even, I don't even want to say half the stuff I really want to say right now. You know what I mean? I feel like I have so much more to say, but I'm just like, that's not a good idea. So I'm not gonna say that.
They're always watching, it feels like, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, whether it's in a Cash App or digital payments app or on YouTube or on Facebook or on Google or anywhere on the internet.
I'll say this if I may. Quote unquote communist China, that everyone loves to say, has a 15% flat tax, and they don't even care. They don't even care about You talk to any like, small, mid-size or higher end business owner, they barely even think about their taxes, and they barely even, give a darn about paying them. So, apparently they're the socialist ones when we're the ones trying to get nailed for 40-50%. So, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's very true. And like you said, it really is just a cost of doing business for a lot of people. Like, they don't even think about it. It just is the way that it is. It's the cost of making money these days. So, and it is crazy the way it stacks up. I remember I used to live in California, and they did a breakdown for us of like, basically you're taxed on almost 60% of your income if you add up the gas tax and the payroll tax and the the federal tax, the state tax, the real estate tax, the sales tax. You put them all together. And it's almost 60%. So, I mean, it really is. And they just break it up in so many different. What's that?
The thing is higher than that. It's called natural taxation. And even in the UK, natural taxation is around 70%. So it works out all your combination of all your income tax, your VAT, sales added tax, a tax on petrol, tax on your alcohol, tax on everything. And China does have a progressive tax rate. So you're paying up 45% if you're earning over like $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So they do have a lot of taxes. But interesting, CryptoFace says that they are more happy to pay their taxes in China for sure. People don't really think about it. It's just part of life there. I guess that's part of being a little bit more free in the US. You get to question your government's policies, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people complaining. One of the things that I really annoys me is people being really upset with what's going on in the US. Yes, it's not ideal, but it is still by far the best, most freest society that has ever existed in the history of mankind. So you guys definitely have it, very good in my eyes, anyhow.
No, that's a great point. And actually, something I was about to say is this hasn't been passed yet. It's just being discussed. So there's a chance this doesn't go through. And kind of like Spencer was saying, we actually have an opportunity to question, to fight back, for there to be some potential backlash on some of this stuff. So, Wendy, last question. Do you think there will be complaints or noise or people upset about this that could potentially change this? Or do you think it's just going to slide right through without people making too much noise about it, and it'll just be another tax among all the other taxes that we pay?
There will be noise, but it's not going to get reported. It will never be showcased on mainstream media. They're going to continue to give incorrect information. I'm sure the bill itself is probably like 5,000 pages. It's probably not even written in plain English. And if that's not the case, it's probably crammed, like a paragraph this much crammed in the big, massive bill, because that's what they like to do. And realistically, yes, I agree with Spencer. In America, we are very lucky compared to other countries with some of our freedoms. But what I will say is the American people, we've gotten very, very lazy. And we just say, okay, this is good. Okay. And we've been conditioned to stop questioning these things. And the fact, because we've stopped questioning these things, that means that the powers that be, they know this, so they just continue to roll this stuff out and push it and push it and push it. And proof of this is in the infrastructure bill. What was it? It's 45,000 pages or something absolutely ridiculous. And there's a $3.5 trillion bill, and they're telling us it's going to cost us $0. That makes that 1 + 1 is 2. Okay.
Right, exactly.
And anytime the paper, just the amount of paper that they used, without even looking at what's inside of it, that costs money. That's costing taxpayers dollars. I think that, of course they want to track everything, but this bill, once it gets approved, because it's going to get approved, it's 100% going to get approved. But once this gets approved and we start having to pay these taxes on the $600, that is just kind of the segue into more control, into more, you can do this, but you can't do this. And it could even be a segue into the US digital dollar, because we're going to have to be, they're going to be monitoring and tracking all of that stuff. Yes, like what CryptoFace said, it's, generally not for those that make under a certain income, but at the same time, it's still there. The damage is already done. It's already been passed. And if those people do decide that they want to improve their quality of life and, start a business or make more money or get a promotion, it's going to impact them even more. So when you're voting or when you're paying attention attention to these laws and regulations that are going to get passed through now, and you're in a specific income bracket, and you say, oh, this isn't going to affect me, let's tax the rich, you're actually incorrect, because one day you could be in that opportunity or in that wealth class and improve your quality of life, and this is going to impact you. And it is a lot harder to get these things repealed than it is to pass. It's very easy to get it passed, but not easy to get it repealed. So I would think about this very, very carefully, what they are proposing and what they're going to be doing. And I just feel that even though it doesn't sound like that big of a deal because it's only $600, it's going to be one of those things that turn into something that's pretty detrimental for the people. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's great, and a good breakdown there. A lot of good points made and a lot of good things to keep in mind. That is all we have time for today. It looks like we've got a tie between CryptoFace and Spencer. The chat saying give each of you guys 20 seconds to take us home, so maybe we can get the split screen. Let CryptoFace go first, and then Spencer, you got 20 seconds to take it away, so let's hear it, guys.
I'm just going to fire off with, I want to share my screen. Real quick. All right, boom, Bitcoin on the 8-hour. This is market Cipher. Take a look at the money flow. Super, super heavy coming in. The last four, I think maybe even 5 times. The last 4-5 times the money flow has gotten up to this point. Every single time it's kept going up higher. So we might have a shot up here. The one thing, my next hurdle for Bitcoin is the Head and Shoulders neckline extension. We have not touched it yet since we've had the drop. That's at about mid 62s, depending where if you put it on the wicks or the candle close. So, but yeah, man, I've been long and strong. We've been getting it. These damn bull runs, the price goes up, it comes down, shake the low, goes up some more, comes down a little bit, and so I'm feeling bullish, man.
I love it. I love that hype, that energy right before the end of stream. We're feeling bullish too. Spencer, what do you got?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I love coming on here. It's always exciting, even though I've got to get up at crack of dawn in Bali, Indonesia. So I'm just very appreciative to be on this with all you wonderful people. I'm doing a project at the moment. It's called Dope Wars. Go check it out. I'm sure you guys are interested in the play-to-earn gaming industry, which is absolutely going to fly over the next 2 months. Go check it out. I'm sure you'll put a link for me down below. Yep. And see you all guys on the next one. Can't wait.
Yeah. We appreciate it, guys. Really appreciate the positive momentum. If you guys love Shiba Inu, if you love America and freedom, please smash the like for us on the way out. We got about 8,000 people here, still only 2,000 likes. So we want to get this message out there. And like Spencer said, all the links to all of these channels are in the description below. So if you want to check more from TraderToks, CryptoWendyO, CryptoFace, Spencer, everybody, Baby Yoda, we're all here together. So if you guys want to do that, check out the links in the description below. That's all we have time for today. TJ out.